Tonight on Cogeco News, the latest from the provincial angle regarding COVID-19 and the positive tests, more graduations, and a good friend and a former colleague wins a big award. Hello again, everybody. Welcome to this Friday edition of Cogeco News. I'm Greg Esterbrooks. First, COVID-19 positive test numbers in Ontario are on the decline. At least they were on Friday, and that could and maybe should be news regarding the reopening of more of the province come July, which is only a few days away. Nipissing MPP and Economic Development and Trade Minister Vic Fedeli talks about that and much more on this day.
There'll still be a lot of restraints. For instance, you will need a mask to ride transit, but you can't really have the full opening until you have daycare open and transit in Southern Ontario, where the bulk of the people are. You need those two things open in order to open your businesses. So we do have a lot of work to do. The daycares are restricted to the amount of people they can have in the daycare facility and how they operate their business. So we tell everybody, no matter what business you're in, go on the Ontario government's website, ontario.ca, and the COVID page will come up first, and it'll tell you everything you need. It tells you where to find supplies. It tells you what your business needs to do in order to be open.
And given the spike of coronavirus positives in the U.S., does that impact international trade in any way, shape, or form?
Well, it doesn't impact trade directly because the products are still allowed to flow back and forth, but it impacts our relationship in terms of sales opportunities. It impacts how we do business. So this past week, for instance, I did Collision. It's a major IT forum. It would have been held in Toronto with tens upon tens of thousands of people that would have shown up. Would have been great for tourism. A lot came from overseas, would have come from overseas and from the States. We had to do all of these meetings online. So we started in Asia in the wee hours of the morning. We started the calls. They went through the full day. We dealt with Ontario and Canada during the day, and then late into the night were the West Coast and the California calls. So we're still trying to keep our export and our trade going, even with the closed border, but there's nothing like a face-to-face meeting, though, and these accidental meetings in the hallways that you do business in.
You could probably go to Europe before you can go to the U.S. in person. Is that going to be on your list of duties, say, come August or September?
Well, it's a possibility. We have to see how travel goes. Picking up our trade file is very, very important. It's such a huge part of our GDP, and most of it is in the States. About 80% of all of our trade is done in the U.S., so that's going to be the real critical border. I don't think anybody will be rushing to overseas markets right now as things will stabilize, but it is a big part of the portfolio. We've certainly learned a lot about doing it with teleconferencing and video conferencing. We've learned a tremendous amount. But again, you miss some of those little sort of the accidental meetings in the hallways where you get a lot of business done. But I think for the next 6 months, you'll see us working virtually.
All right, nothing virtual about this. The latest numbers from the Nipissing or North Bay Parry Sound District Health Unit Board, 400 tests done, still no more positive tests, and 29 of the 30 have been resolved. This time in history is seeing people helping people more than ever, especially in this country and this region. It's also a case of local businesses in many cases helping other local businesses. Competition, yes, still remains, but there are many examples of businesses banding together for common success. And the Chamber President and CEO sees this as the beginning of many beautiful friendships.
I mean, sharing of best practices right across, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's a business, whether it's a chamber, whether it's a municipality. The sharing of best practice and utilization of that is something that we have to do more of. And this has given us an opportunity to look at alternative sources. I mean, how do we do business? How do we look at business? I mean, R&D, and that isn't research and development. That's rip off and deploy. And it's not to say that, steal an idea from somebody else. I mean, not necessarily copyrighted or patented information, but, there's ideas out there, and there's business people, some very, very smart business people that have a lot of really good ideas. And that's what we try to do through our chamber network as well, is that if somebody's doing something right, and they don't have a problem with us borrowing that idea, then we utilize that. Why reinvent the wheel? And that's the way I feel about the business community as well.
And to follow that up, she also talked about, everybody talks about Amazon and Amazon Prime, but you can also order from local businesses online and have it brought right to your door. Maybe more businesses should be doing that.
Well, and certainly through the City of North Bay right now, that they're working on a platform that will work for North Bay and District, local, shop local. That is coming soon from what we understand, and we're hopeful that will allow more merchants to enter into the online type of game, and allow our residents to shop local for products that they may purchase out of town.
Chippewa said a farewell to its graduating class of 2020. The rain held off. It was another unusual but oddly satisfying day for staff and the students. Some students and their families were really styling for Chippewa's outdoor graduation ceremony on Friday. Yes, this car all made up to celebrate the unique Grad 2020.
It's funny because at the beginning of the pandemic, my dad bought me like markers and washable paints for like doing your windows and that kind of thing. And so like leading up to the grad, we have obviously my dad's Citroën old car. And so it was like, you could try that for a grad. And I was kind of worried it wouldn't come off. So we'll see how that goes. But it was kind of fun to put together. It is still really neat. I mean, all the balloons and everything, like it's obvious that a lot of effort went into it. And I mean, it's kind of funny. It's new memories, right? Like it's, being able to tell people like I was part of the class of 2020, right? And even if that, means that we had different setup, it's still something different. It's still kind of just a story to tell, right?
For the kids, not a bad day. For administration and staff, a fun day.
We're actually really amazed. We love it. It's been windy, but it's been great. It's awesome to see the kids one-on-one and get to talk to them as they're going through the graduation. I love to see all the pictures that are down, the signs that are all up. I'm really enjoying it. And they get the personal time with us, the personal photo with their family, and we've really had a chance to chat with them all and their families, which is nice.
You know what, it's different. Certainly we feel for our kids who would have liked to have all come together, but our graduation committee did an outstanding job to make it the best they could possibly make it with what we were able to do. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool. The kids are really pleased, and the parents are really pleased that we've been able to pull off what we pulled off, and that they can still see some of themselves. They can stand in front of the Chippewa Secondary School sign and have their picture taken. They have their colors out. They've got their staff here, so I think they've been pretty pleased.
It was also graduation day at St. Joe's Scholar Hall on this Friday. They had their outdoor ceremony in front of their school. On this glorious day, between 150 and 160 kids graduated grade 12 from St. Joe's Scholar Hall. And like all the other schools, the friends, family, teachers all had to be outside for Grad 2020. And a quick update on that story from retiring St. Joe Scholar Hall football coach legend John Whittet. 165 graduates was the official number for 2020 on this day at St. Joe Scholar Hall. Congratulations to all the Bears. Unfortunately, though, not a storybook ending for Whitfield Secondary School. Yes, another story about this. It's so heartbreaking. Thanks to the coronavirus pandemic, school had to close early despite the restrictions. We showed you on Thursday that staff and graduating students still made the most of the 2020 graduation ceremony. The last class in the school's long, legendary 54-year history. Near North Board Chair Jay Aspin had this to say about the school closure.
As you saw earlier in the week on Cogeco News, graduating students of Whitfield Secondary had to celebrate outside while socially distant, an awkward way to end the story of Whitfield Secondary School. The decision to close Whitfield was finalized in late September of last year.
It is a very sad way to go out. Of course, we had to make that decision. It wasn't an easy decision to make. The former board tossed it around for a number of years, but we absolutely, in view of the finances and the reduction of the finances, we had to make a decision. We made the decision. Having made that decision, it saddens me to see that the school will be closed in this type of manner. But I think the director and the school staff, I believe, will be organizing something in the future that will be of a physical nature. So we'll just have to see how that plays out. But it's something that we all can't avoid. It's unfortunate, but such is life.
And a kind of an ironic fashion, consolidation of a school means more people in one other school. So with COVID and physical distancing needed, it's going to be even more of a challenge with students moving from Whitfield to another school.
Well, it's going to be more of a challenge, but kudos to our administration. They haven't missed a beat. There are other ways to do things. We have a whole variety of tools at our disposal. Scheduling of schools can be changed. Allotment of rooms can be changed. There are a number of ways in which we can accommodate this challenge.
Students beginning or continuing their high school education in the Near North system will be directed to centrally located Chippewa or West Ferris,
depending on the programming they choose. Our staff, our director, our staff, our total staff have done a tremendous job in getting these schools ready for the fall of 2020.
Area schools are set to open as scheduled the day after Labor Day this September. However, the amount of in-class teaching yet to be decided. Reporting for Cogeco News, I'm Clark Heupel.
When we come back, putting the boots to a big award. We'll tell you all about that right after this. Welcome back, everybody. Born and raised in North Bay, Le Voyageur photojournalist Eric Boutillier is now an award-winning photographer at the national level. A longtime former Your TV volunteer, going all the way back to 2002, no less. Boutillier is bringing national recognition to the city with his stunning image of a shadfly. Here is Clark Heupel with more.
The Association de la Presse Francophone held an online award ceremony on Thursday night, honoring the year that was for workers in the Francophone media landscape in this country. North Bay native Eric Boutillier, an award winner in the Photo of the Year category. Boutillier singled out a shad in front of the setting sun.
It means a lot because it's recognition from my peers, it's recognition from my colleagues in the media world, in the French media world across the province and across the country, and to have that recognition for them to recognize a photograph that I've taken. To win a competition like this is it's phenomenal.
Now, for the peer recognition, you're getting a lot of peer congratulations. What have you been hearing from everybody on social media, through email, through telephone?
Well, certainly a lot of thanks, a lot of praise. It's very humbling. I'm very grateful for it. I've seen some people remark about just how breathtaking the picture is, just what it represents to the area. Again, as I said previously, the objective of this photograph was to present the shadfly in a different light, and I think it was accomplished.
Now, you're not one to rest on your laurels. You want to accomplish something else moving forward. Will this drive your goal to find a perfect photograph to capture next?
I hope so. I'm not sure where or when that is going to happen. It's one of those things. Being creative sometimes just involves a lot of spontaneity. So I don't know when or where that is going to occur. But I'll say this: I find recognition like this serves as a good reminder for me why I decided to get into this field in the first place. I wanted to be creative. I wanted to tell stories, and as you know, Clark, it's not an easy field to get into, much less continue to earn a living in. But at the same time, I'm grateful for this opportunity to be able to do it, and I think something like this, the recognition that I've gotten from my peers, it serves as a reminder for me that hard work pays off. Something when we really want something in life, we can take the steps to achieve it. We can try our best to get there. And there are going to be setbacks, and I'm sure Clark. There are going to be setbacks along the way, but it's moments like these that help you help you persevere and continue to do something that you enjoy in life.
My response to that: Amen. Reporting for Cogeco News, I'm Clark Heipel.
My response to that: way to go, Boots. Who says nice guys finish last? Actually, it was Leo DeRocher, but in this case, nice guy finished first. The Nipissing Plaza parking lot alongside Parks Creek is the place to be on Saturday morning if you want to help the Clean, Green, Beautiful team, known as the Litter Busters. I think Clark came up with that one. Will be cleaning up garbage on Lakeshore South to Thelma.
Meeting places at Nipissing Plaza, physical distancing, bring your gloves and whatever else you need to do safe litter pickup.
While big trash items like tires and couches are being cleaned up as the weeks go by, a concerning trend with smaller pieces of trash, including plastics, that eventually get into the water system.
We're noticing right now we're not picking up big items anymore. We're picking up shards of plastic. And that means the litter is getting into our soil. That means it's getting into our waterways, and those waterways end up in the oceans. And there's a prediction that by 2050 there'll be more plastic than fish in our oceans, and we can stop that. We just have to change this habit of disposable items to a culture of caring for our environment.
While picking up garbage is great, it's good to put stuff back onto the ground, more specifically in the ground. Small trees being planted by concerned citizens, and this has been going on for well over a decade.
We had a tree plant, tree nursery here between the ends of 1st and 2nd Avenue that began in 2006, and there was several families involved that committed to planting, not just planting, but maintaining the trees. So several times each year we would weed and mulch the trees.
That is it for the second segment. When we come back, Mr. Heupel will have the weather forecast and more streets on the roads of North Bay.
Weather is brought to you by Canadore College. Great things happen here.
Welcome back to Cogeco News. I'm Clark Heupel here down at North Bay's waterfront. I'm here for your 5-day weather forecast brought to you by Canadore College. Also here to remind you to wear red on Fridays to show your support for the men and women of the Canadian Armed Forces. Plenty of graduates coming down to the waterfront. It is a picturesque spot to take photos. And with COVID-19 really putting a damper on graduation celebrations, drive-through celebrations are happening, as you saw earlier in this newscast, at Chippewa, and those grads are coming down to the waterfront and taking some memorable photographs to mark the occasion. What will the occasion be for the weather over the weekend? We're just going to have to wait and see in that 5-day forecast coming at you in just a few moments. The Streets You Didn't Know Existed, episode 14, will be back next week. So stay tuned for that. And Greg's on vacation next week, so it's like a little bit of a vacation for me too. Let's take a look at that 5-day forecast brought to you by Canadore College. Overnight on this Friday night, we have wind gusts up to 40 kilometers per hour with a warm low of 17 degrees. There is a risk of a thunderstorm as well. 27th of June, the last Saturday of the 6th month of the year. It's going to be a hot and humid day. 25 for the mercury, 32 with the humidex. It will likely feel like 40, and the UV index will be at 7 or high, so wear sunscreen, pack an umbrella, and when you hear thunder roar, go indoor. Overnight Saturday night, low 16. On Sunday, the 28th of June, sun and cloud mix, going to be a less volatile day in terms of the weather. High 27 and a low of 15, clear skies on Sunday night. Looking at the new work week, Greg will likely sleep into 3 p.m. on Monday, no work for him. Sunny skies, high 28, low 16, and Tuesday, more sleeping in for Greg, high 28, low 17 with more sun. Turning the page back to the almanac, we can tell you that on Thursday we had a high of 21 and a low of 11. The normals are 24 and 12 for the high and low for this time of June. Well, there you have it. There is your 5-day weather picture. I wish everyone a safe and happy weekend. The last weekend of June 2020. It is a month that we will soon never forget, sometimes for the wrong reasons with the coronavirus. However, lots of great memories for high school grads celebrating their big day, and they're down here at the waterfront taking photos. Let's send it to a quick break. Greg Estabrooks will have your sportscast right after this very short break.
Sports is brought to you by Tag Construction for all your construction needs.
Welcome back, everybody. Yes, I heard what he said in weather. We'll get to that in a moment. The Powassan Voodoos said they were going to basically sign midget players right now because they are in limbo like so many other sports teams of all level and all sport for that matter. They went local, signing Owen Ray out of midget hockey, the son of Scott Ray, the battalion assistant coach and a parent tennis player. That remains to be seen. He'll be on their roster this fall, if there is a roster, starting at the normal time in this fall. Owen Say was their regular goalie last year, but he is trying to play in the USHL in the States. And Christian Chichagoy, who was on the roster as well, is trying out, he hopes, for another OHL team this fall. Yes, Clark is in the big chair next week. Sorry. And no, he'll do great. Have a wonderful week, everybody. Have a wonderful Canada Day next week, whatever that may be for you. Be safe. Enjoy the weather. It's supposed to be pretty good. And I'll see you in about 10 days. You'll see Mr. Heupel live at 5 on Monday for more Cogeco News.